Several years after the defeat of Dr. Savannah, the daughters of Atlas, Hespera and Calypso, find the broken staff of the Council of Wizards on display in a museum in Greece as a historical artifact. They steal it, Calypso using mind control against the bystanders and security to make them fight each other, before Hespera uses her powers to turn everyone to stone as they escape. In Philadelphia, Billy, in his Shazam form, talks to a local doctor for advice. He feels like he is not contributing anything meaningful to the city, since he and his fellow superheroes have gained a reputation for sometimes making situations worse rather than better. On top of that, he doubts that he was ever worthy of being given powers in the first place. The doctor is a pediatrician, not a therapist, but does his best to give Shazam counsel before he leaves. At the Vasquez home, Billy's foster siblings have all been diving deeper into their individual interests. Freddy is secretly listening to a police scanner and tells Billy there is trouble at the Benjamin Franklin Bridge, but suggests they don't bother telling the others. Billy is adamant that the siblings stick together and calls the Shazamily to suit up. They arrive to the bridge in superhero form and find it collapsing. They are successful in saving everyone on it, but fail to keep it from being completely destroyed. The city has dubbed the heroes the Philadelphia Fiascos for their poor reputation. Hespera and Calypso return to the realm of the gods, where they have imprisoned the wizard that gave Billy Batson the powers of Shazam. The wizard is shocked to see the broken staff, since it was meant to protect a barrier between the realms and Earth. Hespera accuses the wizard of stealing the powers of the gods for himself using the staff, and she and Calypso force him to repair it by calling on the name of the champion. The Shazamily return to the Rock of Eternity, decked out as their superhero lair, and Billy calls a meeting to go over the day's events. One by one the siblings leave to complete personal errands, leaving only Mary, who opted to not go to collage in order to keep doing hero work. Billy is troubled that the siblings seem to be drifting apart, but Mary knows what's really bothering him. He will turn 18 soon, meaning he will age out of the foster system, and deep down is worried that Victor, Rosa, and the rest will abandon him just like his biological parents when he does. She tells him he is holding on too tightly, and it is only pushing them away. At school, Freddy is still being bullied, mainly by the Breyer brothers. He meets and is instantly smitten with a new girl named Anne, who he attempts to protect from the Breyers' advances. They beat him, but she finds his bravery endearing, and recognizes him as the kid that was visited by Shazam at school a few years ago. In the God's realm, the wizard uses a splinter from the staff to send a message to Billy, who receives it in a dream. The wizard is furious that Billy has broken the staff and squandered his power, and warns him that the daughters of Atlas are coming for him and his siblings. Billy wakes up in the middle of the night to see Freddy gone. Freddy spends the night as his super alter ego, Captain Every Power, and goes to stop an armed car robbery. The next day Anne finds him at school, and they eat lunch together. They bond over both having bossy siblings, but Billy interrupts and demands to talk to Freddy. He tells him about the wizard's warning, and makes him promise to come to a family meeting at the Rock after school. In the lair, Mary, Pedro, Eugene, and Darla attend Billy's summons, but Freddy does not show up. He tells them about his dream, and fills them in on the daughters of Athena. Eugene makes a connection, and shows them a news report of the chaos at the museum. They are shocked to see the staff was there, and Billy admits that he just left the pieces in the ruined fairground after using it to give them powers. They don't know enough about the sisters, so Pedro shows them a secret library in the Rock of Eternity, as well as a magical, sentient pen named Steve. The pen knows everything, so they ask it about Atlas' daughters. Meanwhile, Anne takes Freddy to the roof of the school to hang out. Trying to impress her, he offers to introduce her to his friend, Captain Every Power. As he seems to leave to call him, Captain Every Power appears to Anne. In the lair, Steve shows the Shazamily to the information they need, including the powers of the sisters. They suddenly notice that Atlas had 3 daughters, not 2. Hespera, Calypso, and Anthea. Billy realizes that Freddy's new friend is in fact one of the 3 sisters. And talks to Freddy/Captain Every Power, but seems mostly concerned about where Freddy is, saying she doesn't want him to get involved. Suddenly Hespera and Calypso arrive and attack the superhero. When he attempts to fight back, Hespera zaps him with the wizard's staff, which steals his power and transforms him back to his teenage self. Anthea is shocked, and Freddy realizes that he cannot transform anymore. Billy flies in to help, but Anthea uses her own powers to rearrange reality to prevent him from getting close. As the others arrive on the scene, Hespera threatens Freddy's life if they try and stop them. She tears the roof away with them on it and flies it away, but Billy, unable to stand by, gives chase. Before he can reach them, Hespera creates an impenetrable force field over the entire city, trapping Shazam and the rest of the siblings inside as the sisters get away with Freddy. Freddy wakes up in the prison of the God's realm, along with the wizard. The wizard finds Freddy's incessant questions irritating, and says she should never have given the power to children. Freddy agrees it was not the smartest move. At the Rock of Eternity, the Shazamily try to work out what to do. They decide to try negotiating with the daughters and offer up their powers for Freddy, with the real plan being to try and capture one of the sisters themselves and use them as leverage instead. They get Steve to draft the letter to be sent. The daughters have Freddy and the wizard brought before them, and they question Freddy about the other heroes. They ask if they are all just children as well, and demand their names. Freddy refuses to cooperate, so Calypso tries using her mind control to force it out of him. He is able to resist, but eventually lets one name slip, Billy Batson. Before Calypso can go further, the letter arrives and Hespera orders her to stop. The letter, albeit consisting mostly the siblings deciding what to have Steve write, offers up their power in exchange for Freddy's freedom. Calypso and Hespera are not willing to trust the humans, and order Freddy and the wizard to be disposed of, against Anthea's arguments. Freddy and the wizard are tossed into a pit containing the dragon Gayden, the guardian of the Garden of Atlas, who projects fear into his victims before killing them. They are saved by Anthea, who brings them to a labyrinth and give them directions to get out and back to the mortal realm. Hespera goes to meet Shazam, revealing that she knows who he is. She says that the wizard stole the powers of the gods from her father, and they want them back. The siblings try to jump her, but Calypso uses the staff to steal Pedro's powers. They fight, Hespera nearly killing Mary and Darla to force Billy to surrender, but he is able to overpower her and they take her prisoner back to the Rock of Eternity using their magic doors. The Shazamily get ready to send another letter to Calypso, but Hespera escapes, taking an apple figurine from the secret library and retreating through one of the thousands of magic doors in the lair. Freddy and the wizard follow the maze directions and find a door, hiding as Hespera comes through it with the figurine. The wizard recognizes it at the apple containing a seed for the tree of life. The daughters argue how to use the apple, Hespera and Anthea wanting it to heal their realm, but Calypso is consumed by vengeance, and wants to use it to instead destroy the mortal realm. Freddy sneaks into the throne room and steals it back, but is discovered. The Shazamily follow through the magic doors and save Freddy and the wizard, but Calypso takes the staff from Hespera and releases Layden to pursue them back to Earth. The siblings, still in hero form, return to the Vasquez home to evacuate Victor and Rosa. They reveal their identities to their surrogate parents, and the dragon arrives soon after to destroy the house. They retreat, flying to a junkyard, but Calypso, riding the giant beast, is able to steal Eugene and Darla's powers. Mary tries to get the apple away, but Calypso zaps her powers away mid-flight, and Shazam is forced to let Calypso take the apple while he saves her. Calypso flies to a baseball stadium and plants the seed, and the tree of life springs to life, corrupted by being planted outside of its realm. Its roots take hold of Philadelphia, and mythical monsters begin to come out of it and attack the helpless population. Anthea, horrified at what her sister has done, finds the family overlooking the carnage. She tells Freddy that she really does have feelings for him, and goes to try and sway Hespera into bringing Calypso back into check. Billy, desperate and unsure what to do, asks the wizard to take back the powers of Shazam and become the champion again. The wizard states that the power no longer belongs to him, it belongs to Billy. He reassures him that he can find a way to win, and Billy comes up with a plan. He asks the rest of the family to find a way to get the monsters away from the stadium so he can confront the dragon. Before he goes, Rosa asks to see her son in his real form. Billy transforms and they embrace, Rosa telling him that he will never age out of his home or family. He becomes Shazam and takes off. Anthea tries to get Hespera to see reason, since the tree could have rebuilt the realm of the gods, but instead is corrupted, and can only create death in this realm. Hespera is also disgusted by Calypso's deadly fanaticism, and orders her to stand down. Calypso fatally impales her older sister, and uses the staff and her own powers to turn Anthea mortal so she can die with the humans. The family drive through the city trying to stop the monsters, but are hopelessly outnumbered. Darla, having brought Steve the pen from the rock, asks him what the monsters are afraid of. Steve tells them that they are afraid of the king of beasts, unicorns. The wizard tells them that unlike the stories, unicorns are dark, vicious creatures that can only be won with ambrosia. The siblings and wizard leave the van to find them, but Freddy spots Anthea wandering in the chaos, and follows her. Billy finds Calypso and Layden and fight them, but Layden's fire damages his suit and drives him back. Shazam tries using his lightning against her, but it is amplified by the force field and absorbed into the staff. He retreats as Layden continues his rampage. The siblings, led by Darla, find a group of unicorns, and are able to gain its allegiance with Skittles candy. They ride the unicorns into the fray, and drive the monsters to the edges of the city. Shazam finds Hespera, barely alive, and asks her if overloading the staff with lightning could kill the dragon. Hespera says it would, but would also obliterate everything else within the force field. He asks her a favor. Layden and Calypso find Anthea in a crowd of civilians, and try to kill her at the city folk run. Freddy finds her and fights against the dragon's fear powers to get to Anthea. As they face their inevitable death, Shazam appears and is able to take the staff, luring Calypso and the dragon back to the baseball stadium. When they arrive, Hespera uses her power to shrink the force field so it encases only the stadium itself. Calypso is furious, and tries to break out. Meanwhile, Billy finds Victor, Rosa, Anthea, and Freddy at the edge of the force field. He tells them he is ready to do what it takes to protect his family, and says his goodbyes. he goes into the stadium to face Calypso and Gayden. Shazam throws lightning bolt after lightning bolt at the force field, causing an electrical storm that charges up the staff. He is able to hold off the dragon, and finally flies directly through the fire as the staff bursts with energy. He shouts the word of the champion, and the lightning bolt overloads the staff, causing a massive explosion that kills Calypso and Gayden. It also disintegrates the tree, which destroys all the monsters. Moments later, Hespera dies of her wounds, ending the force field. The family search for Billy, Freddy finding his teenage form in the ruins, dead. Freddy is devastated at the loss of his best friend, and the family mourn. Anthea says that Billy was a true god, and hero at the end. The wizard asks for him to be laid to rest as one, and they take his body back to the realm of the gods. After his burial, Darla asks if magic will ever return to the world, but the wizard says that the staff is powerless, and only a god can restore it. At the moment, Diana of Themyscira appears. The daughter of Zeus, she is able to power up the staff and restore the god's realm, bringing Billy back to life and giving him his Shazam powers. Shazam awkwardly asks Wonder Woman on a date, but she tells him to stick to world saving. Billy is reunited with his family, and uses the staff to restore all of their powers. Sometime later, the family are rebuilding their house and enjoying dinner as a family. Anthea stays in the mortal realm to be with Freddy, and the wizard arrives, having had a makeover, to take the staff for safekeeping and say goodbye before he enjoys his new freedom. Before he goes, Billy asks him what his superhero name is supposed to be, having never figured one out. The wizard tells him that it is Shazam, though Freddy thinks they can find a better one. In a maximum security prison, Dr. Thaddeus Savannah is approached by the sentient caterpillar, Mr. Mind, whom he hasn't seen since their first meeting years ago. Savannah is impatient for the creature to set his plan into motion, but Mr. Mind says he has one last thing he needs to take care of.